So, yesterday I received this comment from Scott. Shout out to Scott. Thank you very much. And it's all about how do we get more productive? So, Scott was asking, like, basically, how did I go from being someone who just watches a lot of videos and doesn't really implement to someone who gets a ton of stuff done? So, today I'm going to show you how I run a 50-person link building agency, SEO coaching program, a portfolio of SEO sites, and produce so many YouTube videos pretty much every single day, all of which makes me 7 figures a year. And that's without getting stressed or burned out or even slightly tired along the way. I'm not going to BS you and tell you like you can do exactly the same. But if this free video makes you even 1% of that, it's well worth watching. And it will help you save a lot of time plus avoid the dumb mistakes I've made along the way. And I'm just making this to help people like Scott. Productivity is something I've spent hundreds of hours learning and improving upon along the way. And I warn you now, it's not going to be some generic BS like drink lemon juice and meditate in the morning. None of that rubbish, so let's just get straight into it. So the first place I always start when it comes to planning out my SEO projects and being productive is using a 90-day plan. So when I was first working on Chipper Birds, and you can see the growth since March, I was looking at things I could do. And I was like, for this website, as an SEO, there's a few things I could do that kind of interest me, right? So I could set up a Pinterest account and I could get more traffic by promoting Chipper Birds on there. Or I could post content on social. Or I could publish 15 articles per day on Chipper Birds. And what I'm trying to figure out there is basically using a RICE analysis of figuring out the reach, the impact, the confidence, and the effort required. What's the highest leverage thing I can do? Because I've only got so much time. Even if I hire a team, I'm going to have to manage them and it's going to be more stress. So how can I figure out what's the highest leverage thing to do here? Because I can't do all three. I've only got so much mental energy. I've only got so much time. And I want to focus on the highest leverage stuff. So I'd break down how many potential customers I'm going to reach. So for example, over 3 months, probably if I just get to 1,000 visitors per day, like we did here, then I'm going to reach 100,000 people over time. And I make money off ads. So that's 100,000 potential money makers right there. And then I know the impact of producing content for SEO is very high. I'm 100% confident that if I produce content, it's going to have a high impact and it's going to require a lot of effort and a lot of time, but that's okay. And I can see over here that the RICE score is super high for doing that particular task. Whereas if I mess around on Pinterest and post on social, well, I'm not very confident in how much that's going to help me. It's going to require some effort and mental energy, but less in creating content. But at the same time, the impact is going to be tiny. And by doing this, you can easily and quantitatively measure the impact of what you're doing in SEO. And this will just save you hundreds of hours, especially if you're like me and you have tons of shiny object syndrome and you want to try a million tools and a different process and you want to get more traffic from everywhere. This is an easy way to prioritize and organize your thoughts that will make you more money and save you more time. And if you don't do this, then nothing else works. Why? Because you'll be running enthusiastically in the wrong direction, messing around on Pinterest all day. Unless you're very good on that, there's no point doing it. And then step number 2 is to focus on quarterly goals. So this is formed from your RICE decision matrix because obviously you can't do everything and everything has a trade-off. So you have to focus on the highest leverage tasks and basically from creating the RICE analysis, you can focus on that. And you can break down your SEO goals or your agency goals, whatever you want to grow and make more money with, into actionable things that you can do every single day or regularly. So for example, for me, one of my goals was to publish 60 videos, so 1 video per day for the last 2 months, as long as they get 1,000 views or more. And I know that if I follow the actions but don't hit the milestones, that's fine. I'll stop the project. And then I just tracked it on a spreadsheet like this. You can see since the 29th of March, published tons of videos. Here's the name, here's how many views they got. I think some of these have got even more views since I've last updated this. But that's basically it. And I can track all my actions that lead to better results. And you might be thinking, how do I measure the effectiveness of that? How do I actually know it's worked? Well, these are action-oriented goals. So I know exactly what to do every day. That's my game plan. And then I can easily see on my YouTube dashboard, channel got 1,111% more views than usual in the last 20 days. So this is just what works really well for me. It helps me organize everything into quarterly goals. And then for you, if you're running a website, well, it'd probably be link building and content and keyword research that are going to get you there and potentially hiring. But you would put everything you're seriously considering doing here, and then you would just eliminate the BS is actually not going to help you at all, like that. Now, the next thing that I pretty much do every single day, as you can see from here, I've been tracking my time since February, is track how much time I've spent that's linked to profit. Because as a business owner, everything I should be doing should be proactive and bring me more money. So there's a few questions that I use to ask and to audit my time and make sure I'm focused on the right things every single day. And I basically keep a track of the date that I worked, what task I did, and how many minutes I spent on that task. So if we skip down to, for example, 28th of March, you can see that I spent a lot of time messing around with AI, creating money pages. And this was shortly before I outsourced everything, but I was just figuring out the process, getting the money pages and the informational pages ranking for my SEO project. This is for Cheaper Birds. And also I spent a bit of time working on my speech for AW Summit in Romania. And then you want to look at everything that you've done that day, like this, as an SEO, and basically write down the key outcomes of the day. Is what you're doing actually moving you measurably towards my goals? So, for example, like I had a growth goal for this website, especially as it was a case study for YouTube. And then out of about 8 hours a day, I'm actually hitting 240 minutes a day of productive time. And am I tracking that honestly? And then on top of that, you want to reduce unscheduled and unplanned activities. So for me, I ask myself every day, what do I need to eliminate? What do I need to delegate? Because the fastest code is a code that doesn't run. And on top of that, if I complete everything on my to-do list, will it leave me feeling satisfied by the end of the day? These are actually questions I got from Dan Kennedy's book on the ruthless management of time. Really powerful book. It will change your whole perspective on productivity. And I actually had to read it twice before I really got it and really started implementing it properly. But that's just a powerful way to make sure that we've all got the same amount of time every day, but are you doing the highest leverage stuff? And you can see that since I started doing that, started making a lot more money, started being a lot more productive and achieving more with my YouTube channel. And I'm just being totally transparent with you as well. Like there's nothing hidden there. That's an actual example of how I spend my time, how I track it, what I do every day. And I don't think there's any secrets here. It's just basics and advanced basics. Now, the next thing that I do pretty much every single week is I ponder upon questions from Keith Cunningham's book, The Road Less Stupid. Now, this is basically a book that teaches you how to avoid a lot of dumb mistakes because quite often as an SEO or, when you're doing business, we don't need to do more smart things. We need to do less dumb things. And last year, I did tons of stupid stuff that actually cost me a lot of money and sabotaged myself without even realizing it at the time. So for example, like if you're hiring an SEO team, link builders, content writers, if you get the wrong hires, it's going to cost you a lot of stress along the way. And if you don't even measure them, you won't even realize that team isn't performing. And this is just a tiny blip on the journey that you have to read from. So Keith Cunningham, I think he actually lost like $100 million in the past. And that's why he wrote this book. But basically, there's tons of amazing questions in there that you just spend 1 hour per question thinking about. For example, like what shortcuts are we attempting to take? They're not really shortcuts, but rather mirages of greed, laziness, or impatience. Basically, what I do every single day on a piece of paper is I ask myself the question, and then I just come up with loads of different ideas based on that. And at the end of the thinking session, I filter them, ask myself which ones are the highest leverage, and implement those ideas pretty much the same day. And some of the principles that I've learned along the way are just operating more frugally, staying lean, keeping things simple. And every single day, at the end of each day, I journal with 3 questions. And these 3 questions help me stay more productive and keep me motivated along this journey because when you're working with data, spreadsheets, SEO, there's a lot of numbers in SEO. It can drive you crazy. So there's 3 things I ask myself, right? What do I appreciate? What can I improve? And what do I need to stop doing? And the thing that I've noticed along the way is that the questions always remain the same with productivity, but the answers change often. So like doing a YouTube video every day for 60 days last year wouldn't have made sense. It wouldn't have been a good use of my time. For example, like my old videos, they would get 300, 150 views, etc. Not worth spending a lot of time on. Whereas today, it makes total sense. And this also helps me create better paradigms through which I can navigate the world and make better decisions. If you look at any investors like Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger, they have first principles they keep in mind that they use every single day to help them make better decisions. And I don't think any of us can ever really find the truth, but we can gradually make better decisions if we use the right principles. So for SEO, some of the principles that I use, for example, are the 80-20. Like if you look at SEOs and who achieves the most success, well, 20% of the SEOs get 80% of the money, right? 8% of websites get most of the traffic on the internet. When it comes to creating systems for SEO, for example, like link building, often the simplest solution is the best. You don't need any fancy link building strategies. You just need to implement one really well, consistently every single day to get a lot of backlinks. And with SEO as well, there's 1,000 different things you can do. But if you use the principles of essentialism to become more productive, well, you can separate the trivial many. And there's a lot of plugins, software, SaaS, people you could hire that are not going to help you versus a vital few of focusing on keywords, content, and backlinks. And when you separate these things, that's how you get results like this. On top of that, the philosophy of just continuously improving, Kaizen, which is a Japanese word, well, this can help you consistently iterate and improve your systems every single day. So if you look at our link building agency, for example, day one, it was pretty terrible. After a year, it was still pretty terrible. But after 6 or 7 years of iterations every single day and improving 1%, well, we've got a much better link building strategy and a whole team of 50 people that actually work really well together. And one of my favorite paradigms is decision half-life. So one decision now saves 1,000 later on. It's the same when you decide which SEO clients to work with, which people to hire in your SEO team, what sort of SOPs to implement. For this website, for example, just by scheduling 1,000 blogs at once and then letting them auto post every 60 minutes for the next few months, well, that's helped this website grow a serious amount. So all of these paradigms help you navigate SEO much better. And the final step that I use is basically just being in monk mode. So for the last 2 months, and this is the life of an SEO, right? It's often not as glamorous as people think. Most of the time, I'm just behind a laptop. Even though I live very frugal, I don't really have a fancy lifestyle. I spend way more money on my family than myself. I'm not saying that's a boast. It's just I can't have a complicated personal and business life, so I keep my personal life very simple. And I've found in the past that you can often get distracted by the byproducts of your work instead of focusing on what got you there instead. So, for example, if you look at last year, I spent a lot of time creating music, playing live, traveling, doing all these things that my business allowed me to do, but actually distracted me from the work that actually helped me achieve that. So just going full circle back to Scott's question about being productive and publishing so many videos, well, I basically had a total season of focus where I stopped writing and playing music. I worked about 8 to 12 hours every day, as you saw in my time tracker. And I have total respect for people who message me, but right now I had that season of, if anyone wanted to hang out, it was an automatic no. So I basically eliminated everything that was distracting me so that all that was left was the work that needed to be done. And this is something I absolutely don't need to do. Last year, for example, I could do days of working 1 hour a day. I had a bunch of boat parties in Phuket and Bangkok, and the business still grew. But this is just a season I'm going through now because I really want to speed up the growth and I'm making the most of all the opportunities that I have. So right now, my lifestyle is very simple. I basically do 3 things: work, gym, and see my girlfriend. And in fact, I actually went to Baby Bathwater last week in Croatia. Amazing event for entrepreneurs. Really, really good. Would recommend to anyone. But that was literally the first day I'd taken off in about 2 months, so it was ridiculous. And then, of course, no lemon juice or yoga in the morning or anything like that, but I do exercise every day. I eat very clean, sleep 8 hours. Nothing special about this, but you've got to get the basics and foundations right first. So that's basically it. If you want more tips like this, make sure you check out my free course. I'm actually going to leave the RISE decision matrix template, the quarterly goals template, and my time tracking template if you want to become more productive and achieve more, or just implement some of these systems I've talked about today. And hopefully that helps you save time, makes you more money, and helps you get better results with SEO. So I'll leave the links and templates in this free course right here. Appreciate you watching as always, and make sure you subscribe if you want more videos like this. Thank you.